Welcome to this week's Bushel Up. Again, like last week, a lot of things going on. I know it's kind of that time of year where you got to prioritize where you go and what you do. We got posts going on soybeans, corn, a little bit of replant. Some hail events struck the area as well. So again, just take it one day at a time, click things off the list. We'll get there. We are to that period where we're seeing the soybeans start to take off, the corn. We start hitting that rapid vegetative stage. Soybeans here, about that April 17th plant date at Aurora. You can see our first true leaves. We got one trifoliate, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth trifoliate's out, sixth one's starting to come. We do expect to see some flowering on soybeans probably within the next 7 to 10 days. Typically we see that around the 20th. We've seen it as early as the 9th. So we're in that window. What's that mean? I get concerned. Everybody wants to spray beans late. How late can I spray my soybeans? We're all worried about dicamba deadlines. We've talked about this in a lot of meetings. Once we start blooming and putting those flowers on, we really don't want to be hitting those plants with a whole lot of herbicide. I'm looking at my beans here in Aurora, and we're going to start kind of hopefully our last pass residual across the field. So this week we still got a little ways to canopy. But let that residual do its thing. Now, important thing about residuals, whether you're going on your corn or your soybeans, is, sometimes we get lulled to sleep with all the rain we've had. We get a little frustrated by rain every 5 days. We've got to activate these herbicides. So if we look at an extended forecast and we're not seeing rain in the next 3, 4, 5 days, we've got to be ready to run those pivots, get that herbicide activated. Most of our pre-emerge herbicides have worked fantastic this year. I've never seen performance out of pre-emerges, especially some of the elite products that are out on the marketplace. They gave us 40, 45 days of control, whereas last year we were struggling to get 21, 22. And that's the power of moisture and reactivation and keeping those in soil solution. So be thinking about that with your residual. I know some of these beans have ways to go to canopy. They've been pretty slow, so activate them. Keep them recharged every 4 or 5 days. We don't want to overwater. We get into flowering, we want to be a little cautious about watering and maybe stirring up some white mold. And be thinking about that, but as soon as you get those on, that's why the earlier the better. You have some options and some time. When we look at corn, really want to caution everybody on corn to make sure you're staging your corn right. With kind of the cooler growing conditions, slower growing conditions that we had early on, we are seeing them, plants are pretty stacked. They may be a little deceiving. They may be 12 inches tall, but they may be already pushing V6, V7. So, be aware with the weather. We look at some of these lower leaves. We may have already sloughed a leaf off here. So, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 color corn here going into V7. And we're not really that tall for typical V7 corn. I've seen a lot of V8 pushing V9 corn as I'm looking at fields on this earlier April planting window. So, we're pretty much off label for a lot of herbicides at that point in time, so we want to make sure we're following labels. Again, evaluate your fields. We were able to avoid the Diflex and dicamba-based products statuses on a lot of fields because we had such great performance out of our pre-emerge products. And so don't just blanket throw it in. Make sure you're looking at your fields. No need to spend money if you don't need to. No need to put a little bit of a twist on that crop and a little bit of brittleness into it if we don't need to as well. So be watching those fields, especially some of these later ones that, where we've got good performance out of our herbicides. Finally, next week we're going to be doing Bushel Up meetings. We skipped same places as before, just a little bit different venues. We'll be in Kearney. We're going to be at our seed shed there on the east side of town, north of Highway 30. We'll be having a meeting there. We'll be having a meeting in McCool Junction at Stone Creek, and then we'll be at Aurora here instead of Grand Island, but we'll be out at Trout Aerial. We want to give you a chance to meet our aerial teams, meet our grain team. There'll be a little bit of grain update. We'll do an agronomy update, and we'll have various individuals there to visit with you, reps from the different companies. As we talk about what's next, we go into fungicide season and kind of look ahead to what's ahead of us. So check the schedule on social media. We love to see you there. I know everybody's busy, but I do encourage you to take a few minutes if you can. Come have lunch, come sit down, take a deep breath, and let's start planning out our next phase here.